Hey everybody, how are you guys doing? Thanks so much for coming back and tuning into Future Trend today. Yeah, it's Tuesday and I'm making a consecutive return, a consecutive video release, second day in a row. I'm pretty happy about that. But nonetheless, let's get right to it. This is something that's already going around on Twitter. This is already going around pretty much in, I'd like to think all platforms in general. YouTube's already hit it really hard. But I'm going to hit it too because, well, it's pretty relevant and it pretty much just builds off of my narrative from the previous video I made about the OCC. And what topic am I talking about? I'm specifically talking about the appearance that Brian Brooks, the head, I believe he's the officer of he's the Comptroller of the currency. Let's just go with that. He is the Comptroller of the currency, Brian Brooks. And he had an interview earlier today with Julia Chatterley on CNN, and it pretty much just pieces together everything in a very, very subtle yet, methodical way. And what am I talking about is what I'll delve into shortly here. So, what I ended up doing here. Okay, so, and by the way, if you guys ever get a chance, go ahead and do follow me on Twitter if you get a chance. I'm trying to build my following there and also do my best to contribute to the overall XRP community and the digital asset community in general. So if you guys are looking to get some up-to-date news on the trends that actually matter, in my opinion at least, don't hesitate. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Just hit where's that button? The follow button on my handle there, and you should be good to go. But getting into this specifically, all right, so they talked about Swift and drew attention to essentially how it's ironic that the organization or the function of Swift is the opposite of that, and it drew a lot of correlation to the interview that Julia had previously. I think she had one around September of last year, and another one towards the end of the year or the beginning of this year. She had two very particular interviews very interesting interviews with Brad Garlinghouse, and it just kind of pieced everything together. So just bear with me a moment while I try to piece these dots together, or at least connect these dots. We have Brian, who, as according to this and what everybody already knows, he was a previous chief legal officer over at Coinbase. Coinbase is a very popular and well-known cryptocurrency exchange, and he then jumped ship from that project and was essentially thrown or appointed or, given the opportunity to be the head regulator at the office of the Comptroller of the currency. And his role again led to the breaking news on the 22nd of July, which was, giving financial institutions an opportunity to custody cryptocurrencies as part of their service offerings for retail investors and bank holders and the like, bank account holders, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So piecing that together, we have Julia, who's already drawn attention to pretty much everybody on the mainstream media angle, and she interviewed Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. Ripple is a company that answers, or at least has the problem of cross-border payments at the forefront of their value proposition. This is essentially what we're. If I were Ripple would stand at the podium and say, we're here to solve cross-border payments and make it better. From initializing an entire payment to settling, we take care of all that process. We take care of the entire process, and we also make sure that it's immutable because we use blockchain technology, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can bring up the different types of ways they plan to achieve this goal. But you have Julia on a platform like CNN, which in quotation marks is the most credible source of news in mainstream media, as the average Joe or Jane would understand. And now she's interviewing another credible individual who is the Comptroller of the currency, Brian Brooks, talking about the same topic. I mean, Julia, I'm pretty sure whoever pays attention to CNN, she interviews a lot of people. And one may say, it's not, the two are not correlated, but I'd like to think that they are. And yes, timing is everything. At this particular point in time, we are just beckoning on some sort of an alt season bull run that we're experiencing, or we have been experiencing for the past 2 to 3 weeks, so to speak, right? So if you think about it, the timing of Julia is very, 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 very peculiar. Julia interviewing Brian, that is, rather. And I think it's pretty cool. Knowing that I'm interested in XRP and Ripple as a company in general, and the fact that I'm aware that Brian Brooks, he plays a very, very, very important role in this whole process of adoption. It only makes sense that Julia interviews him. and that draws attention to when Brad also had his interview with Julia and talked about the same thing, essentially. So I'm just thinking to myself here, one other very interesting topic, which I believe Twitter's already gone to town with today, was Brian's example of Swift, and essentially that was in direct correlation with what we've all heard Brad Garlinghouse essentially tout for the past 2 years, if not 3, if not more, about how the fastest way to get money from here, as in LAX to London, or New York to London, is to fly it over, pack it in a suitcase and fly it over. Ripple's also given an interview. Sorry, not an interview. They've released an ad about that exact thing. Matter of fact, let's find it. Hopefully it's on Ripple's official site, if I could find it, or channel. Here. Okay. Good people at Ripple, please don't flag me for this one, but I just need to prove a point here. Okay, and guess what? It's the first thing. This was a year ago, or October 2018 is when this was released. But let's give this a look. So yeah, she's that's the banker, or the the teller. She left the branch with a suitcase of money. Cute. She's driving a Tesla. Looks really cool. Let me actually mute this. So she's literally on the tarmac she's on tarmac, she's in a private jet, she's flying to wherever. She's transferring money over to that individual's family physically in a suitcase. You guys got the point. Okay, so Ripple essentially uses this as an example to prove that, the current infrastructure that's in place is outdated, it's antiquated, and it's not necessarily suited for our current demands as, as an ever-evolving digital generation. I think let's just go with that. And you have this man, Brian Brooks, using that as a direct example in today's interview with Julia. Matter of fact, I'm going to go onto her Twitter and play exactly that. If I can fast forward and find it. Here.
On benefit payments, the pandemic has presented a somewhat antiquated banking industry, to say the least.
She used a word, yeah.
It's a pretty huge challenge. Our next guest, Brian Brooks, the new head of the US National Bank's regulators, says they will need to innovate to keep up.
I agree with him on that one. Let's just buzz this forward a little bit.
Years with the rise of fintech, largely dominated by a bunch of Silicon Valley firms.
Hold on here, guys.
They don't best serve the
at Apple are genes at Levi's stores that
rail,
PayPal and Stripe and
I guess,
strong market incentive.
I think he hits it around here.
From America to Australia.
Here we go.
Swift is at this moment.
Well, Julia, you make a great point that Swift is one of the most ironically named organizations in the world.
Here we go.
The joke in my world is that if you wanted to move money from America to Australia, the fastest way to do that is to load it in a suitcase and put it on an airplane, which is a little bit crazy, right?
Okay, so, I'm gonna stop it right there. So, yeah, so he says that, and that's something that we can also see that Brad Garlinghouse is always used as an example or a value proposition for Ripple's service offering. Whenever he's in a public forum, or presenting with the IMF, or talking to God knows who, like all these very, very influential and powerful individuals, he uses that as an example to at least bridge the gap of understanding, so that everybody understands what they offer. And now we have Mr. Brooks saying that too. I think that's that's interesting to me. I mean, you can draw your own correlation. And again, as always, as you guys are watching this, as I've mentioned in my first video, and as I'll say now, Everything you're hearing on this channel and in my videos is not financial advice. You should do your own research and make your own financial decisions for yourself. And if you're not sure, consult your own financial advisor, a licensed one. Otherwise, I just found this dot connecting really interesting today, and from the perspective of, you know, adoption in general, we are currently we're just on the door of we're at the doorstep of Q4, and Q4 is always the most active financial quarter of the year. So it's only right that you have someone as legitimate or credible as Brian Brooks on Julia's talk show talking about this particular topic at this particular time, and I feel it's pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good myself about. Let's just do this. I'm feeling pretty good about this market. I know it's dropped, it's dipped, and again, my philosophy in from any economic textbook or any investing textbook or any investing piece of literature will tell you that it's important to invest when there's essentially blood on the streets, and blood on the streets is, you know, with regard to, you know, red within a market. If it's unpopular, if it's being sold, it's potentially the better time to buy rather than when everything is climbing or pumping, because, well, you stand a higher chance of being dumped on if you buy at a high. Let's not make the mistakes we all made in 2017. For those of you guys who know, everyone bought in when it was climbing. Everyone thought it was going to continue climbing, and that was extremely, extremely, extremely amateur. I was guilty of it myself. And I learned my lesson, and we're here today in a far better position, and I think it's only right that we make the right decisions moving forward. But yeah, I just want to draw attention to that particular item today, and I thought it was rather interesting. So you guys keep an eye out for more videos. As always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I'm more active on there, trying to do my best to contribute to the community. But also don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, like, comment, share, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to, you know, be notified of every time I post a video, and I'll do my best to be as consistent as I can. This is day 2 of the week, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you guys soon. All right, bye-bye.